The US Supreme Court seems to have little interest in making it easier to get justice for police murder by recently declining to take up a case on whether to make it easier to hold municipalities liable for civil rights violations in connection to police who've committed murder or who have killed people, civilians. They rejected an appeal by the mother of a man killed by police in Ohio. So the justices turned away the appeal filed by a mother of a 23-year-old man named Luke Stewart of a lower court ruling that threw out her claims made under federal law in a civil rights lawsuit against the city of Euclid and an officer involved in the 2017 incident. So more on that incident, the officer Matthew Rhodes, who shot Stewart in the chest and neck at close range, avoided liability for those claims through a legal defense called qualified immunity, even though the lower courts determined that a jury might find that he unlawfully used excessive force. The lawsuit filed by Mary Stewart accused Rhodes and other officers of using excessive force in violation of the US Constitution's Fourth Amendment ban on unreasonable searches and seizures. The suit also accused the Euclid police of a pattern of unconstitutional practices, particularly against Black people. Her son was Black, the officers are white. And there's more on, Stewart was sleeping in his car. Let's just read it. Let me just give you the context of that. So Stewart had been sleeping in his car when police came upon him. Rhodes entered the vehicle as Stewart tried to drive away. Rhodes punched Stewart, shocked and then struck him with a taser, and finally shot Stewart in the chest and neck with a gun. So, not like we haven't heard that heinous story and murder before, but here you have the Supreme Court, right? Who it's on them to decide what they want to take up and what they don't want to take up. Dr. Rashad Richey, what does it mean that they decided not to take this case up?
It means they scared. That's what it means, number one. I read this federal suit. This was a well put together federal lawsuit. And they hit all of the elements that they were supposed to hit. And they sought administrative remedy from the lower court as they are supposed to in cases like this. It passed all of the tests. And then it gets to this highly selective group of individuals, conservative leaning, obviously, and they decide not to take the case. Now, think about this. If they knew, I'm talking about the conservatives on the court, if they knew that they could constitutionally back what the lower court did, they would take the case to create precedent. They would take the case to create case law, and there's no more supreme case law than those cats, right? But they did not take the case. They don't want the headache, and their job is literally to unravel complex matters like this. I think this makes the argument for enhancing the US Supreme Court as Democrats started to make that argument. Somehow that argument has now kind of fallen to the wayside, but you must increase the number of Supreme Court justices in this country. You're going to have to do it, or they will unravel or not lay to rest major legislation that hopefully will get passed by a more progressive administration.
Absolutely. Just to back up some of what you were saying around qualified immunity, recent investigations have shown how under the guidance of the Supreme Court, lower federal courts are increasingly granting qualified immunity to police accused of excessive force, even when they have determined the officers acted illegally. So again, it's this insane. On the highest court level. Yeah, no. What you did was illegal, violated constitutional rights, civil rights, etc., murder, obviously. But still qualified immunity because police are above the law. I mean, look, we're also in this moment where what has the Supreme Court decided to take up? Oh, another abortion case. Wonderful. Right. Just the pro-life, pro-death party of a now, yes, it's not even fair to say right wing. It's not even fair to say conservative, but an extremist, Christian nationalist bent of the Supreme Court. Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett. They are not your run-of-the-mill conservatives that you see on MSNBC and you're like, why do they have a job?
Yeah, and I would
they're extremists.
Yeah, they are extremists, and I would even argue that they are using their religion to disguise their darkness. I'm a Christian man, right? I believe in a radical Messiah of color. I had someone call my show today, a white female. She belongs to the Tea Party. She calls my show semi-often, so I have dubbed her Tea Party Lou. Her name is Lou. She's a Tea Partier. I call her Tea Party Lou. And so she always has the white supremacist point of view. And so today I just decided to ask her a simple question, because if they can't answer this question, it actually answers a lot of questions about them.
Yeah.
Are you a Christian? I asked her. She said, yes, I'm a Christian. I said, what color is Jesus? She couldn't answer that. She started saying things like, why does it matter? We're not talking about Jesus. Because her Jesus is white. He's fictional. The white Jesus is fictional. Even if you don't believe in religion, even if you're not a Christian, historically, you're inaccurate. But if you're willing to believe that lie, you're also willing to believe the big lie that Donald Trump actually won the election and some mythical creature stole it from him. And this is the mentality you're dealing with. And that mentality now exists in the highest court of the land. It existed inside of our White House. Trump was never a believer. He was just playing everybody. But he had people that were zealot in that way. And they kept him in power. And they're hoping that he comes back.
Yeah. Yeah, that mythical creature is just a white Jesus.
Right, that's the mythical creature, absolutely.
I love that she stalled, because I feel like that's progress. I'm not trying to say like she's probably also not fairly backwards in her thinking, but the fact that she was like, oh, why does it matter? Like that means right. That she secretly knows that he was like North African, Arab, like
right. She didn't come out and just say, oh, he's white, right? Because she knows better, right?
She didn't pull the Megyn Kelly, like, Santa is white, everybody. You should have followed up with a Santa line, and she could have been like, oh, that's why he's white.
I used to play that clip on my radio show every Christmas. It was so iconic to have Megyn Kelly, and at that point she was coming on like 9, 10 o'clock on Fox News. And so she says, okay, yep, Santa is white, kids, just for the kids. Who in the hell is watching your show that's a child, first of all, that believes in Santa Claus? Who is watching your program? And then she wanted to make sure she let people know that Jesus is white too. Here's what's scary. This woman got a whole damn law degree, which means she went to somebody's college for 4 years, somebody else's college for 3 years, maybe 4 years. She has almost 7 or 8 years of college.
Wow.
And this is what she says on her show. She was suspended for 1 day. They never said it was a suspension, but she didn't come back the next day. And then she kind of gave a halfway apology about telling her children that watch her show at 10 p.m. at night that somehow Jesus and Santa Claus are white people.
And then she got a show on NBC, but I'm not bitter, it's fine.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.